Hey everybody, welcome to AC3 Video Blog. We're here in the auditorium with the musical backdrop today.
Yes, this is where the magic happens.
Magic. Speaking of magic, we're doing a series, right, called It's Not Rocket Science, where we're talking about spiritual disciplines, practices, things that Christians do in order to experience change, become more like Jesus, right? And I think a lot of people look at like their spiritual life, look at transformation, and they either think like it's rocket science, that it's really complicated, and you got to go to Bible college like Rick did, or you got to have a degree or something, or sometimes they think it's magical. And it's not that there isn't a mystical, supernatural component to it, but really there are some things that people need to do that are just not all that sexy, mystical, or complicated, are they?
That's right. And there are these habits that Jesus talked about, disciplines that you work into your spiritual life.
Discipline.
That they're spiritual practices, And, speaking of practice, a lot of people think that maybe I'll take a stab at these things, I'll take a whack at it. And John Ortberg talks about this. He mentions the difference between trying to change and to transform and training to change and transform. And any athlete will tell you that anyone can, step up into a batter's box and take a whack with a bat, and that's trying to play baseball.
Right, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, nobody's going to hit that thing just because they try harder.
Exactly. So what you have to do is train, which means time in the batter's box, time in the batting cage.
Coaching
from somebody who knows what they're doing. Exactly. Training is completely different from trying. Trying is just taking a random stab or a whack at something.
And no, I'm sure you can speak to this. I know sometimes my experience is people will come in and talk to us, right, as staff members of the church about their spiritual growth, and they're really frustrated because, I went to church, I showed up, and, I read my Bible, for a whole month, and God didn't give me the Cadillac. Kind of, I'm being a bit facetious, but and it's really not simply about sometimes the slot machine. I do these things and then God delivers.
There's a persistence in them. Just think about music. You've taught a lot of people how to play some standard drum beats and stuff like that, and you can maybe learn the big idea in 30 seconds. Yeah. And then it's just
that easy.
Yeah, it's just not rocket science. Yeah. But then about doing it is a matter of training yourself every day.
And then getting to a place to really beat that metaphor to death. Yeah. Beat it to death. Yeah, it's a double metaphor. But it takes a while before it starts to sound musical. Yeah. And it takes a while before you can do it unconsciously and enjoy it. Yeah. Where something comes back. So let's just really quickly run down these disciplines, the 5 of them that we're covering. And we've categorized these, but you can find them easily in Scripture. The discipline of prayer, right? We covered that last week, and how people sometimes have the misconception that it's just a meditative state or throwing wish pennies into God's wishing well, right? Right. Then there's worship. What are we going to cover this week on worship?
Well, in worship, we're going to kind of talk about worship not being for the sake of the people that are doing it with you.
Right. Hey, worship was really great this week.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know?
Right. So we're going to talk about audience of one.
And then we're going to talk about giving, which is always a bit of a tricky subject, right? Yeah. We talk about it all the time at AC3, that the church hasn't always managed money well historically, and we're really committed to trying to do that right. And part of that is teaching about it, because giving is a big part of spiritual transformation.
Right. And it's a habit that changes us. That's what we undersell. We think giving is about funding the church. But what if giving was more about changing me?
Then we're going to talk about serving, which, as always, there's room around Allen Creek to get engaged. And just like giving, getting involved in a ministry, getting your gifts in the game has as much to do with you experiencing transformation as it is for the rest of us to benefit from what you bring. And then finally, we're going to talk about community, right?
That's right, community, and how relationships are absolutely vital to transformation into Christ-likeness. The idea of Lone Ranger Christendom is just an unknown thing in the New Testament.
So there you go. Some basics. It's not rocket science. We're here for the next 4 weeks at AC3. You can get the schedule of all the events coming up, June meetings and retreats and all kinds of stuff. www.ac3.org. Okay, by way of example, I can teach you how to play the drums right now. Even a Canadian like you. It's really simple. It's like, can you count to 4?
I can.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you're going to move your right foot down on 1 and 3.
Yep.
So you're going to go 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now I want you to take your left hand.
Oh, this is not going to work.
Oh, it's going to be great. And then you're going to hit your sailing with on the 2 and the 4. So you go 1, 2, 3. He's drumming 2. See?
This is awesome.
John Bottom, he can start his own band right there. Who needs to practice, right?
I've already got it wrong.
Give me some right up there.